I'm so excited about this video because emotional control and mastering your emotions is literally the foundation of manifesting, of just creating your dream life. Emotions are literally the language of the universe. When you tap into your feelings and when you tap into your emotions and you tap into those higher states of bliss and peace and love, that is what propels your manifestations and brings them to you so quickly. If you're always being affected by outside circumstances and anything can throw you off of your high vibration, then you're not able to really be a conscious creator of your life, and you're not able to quickly manifest things into your life in the way that you're supposed to. When I was having blow-ups and my triggers were raging and I was working on managing my anxieties, my feelings of unworthiness, and what I felt then were self-sabotaging behaviors, I was going through such intense emotional pain. All I could think to do was Google how to stop being so reactive or how to stop being so triggered. And all Google could tell me was do some deep breathing, go for a walk, and go to therapy. It gave me no real remedies to the problem. I had no idea how to stop my spiral of negative thoughts and emotions. And it took me on this deep journey of discovering how to calm my nervous system and be a master of my own emotions. I didn't know it then, but becoming a master of my emotions would transform every single area of my life, from my health to my wealth to my personal relationships, especially the one with myself. This video will serve as an ultimate guide of mastering your emotions, stopping the spiral of negative thoughts, and learning how to manage your emotions before, during, and after a highly emotional event. And at the end, I'll tell you the secret to mastering your emotions so you can finally overcome this obstacle in your life and begin creating the life that you really desire. So let's start with preventative. Manage your emotions before they manage you. We tend to focus on how to fix a problem after it's already begun, but preventing emotional blow-ups before they start is key to mastering your emotional state. When I think back to when I was my most emotionally volatile, I can just see so clearly how I was just not taking care of myself at the most basic level. Things like sleeping well, eating well, moving my body, drinking water. I know these things may seem simple, but the things that are the best for you are the simple things that just add to your health and well-being. The first one we'll start with is sleep. Many studies show that sleep plays a key role in emotional regulation. When you sleep, your brain clears out your central nervous system, and I'll refer back to that later on in the video. But it's really important because it clears out all the toxic waste in your brain, and it's a time where your body literally repairs itself. When you miss out on this process by staying up all night scrolling social media, you neglect this vital process that literally helps with every single function in your body. The next one is proper diet, and I'm not even going to get into the effects of fast food and processed food and just all the dyes that they put in our food and how the government is literally trying to kill us. But I will say that there is a real link between your gut and your brain. The link is called the gut-brain axis, and they discovered that there is a real connection between your gut bacteria and your mental and emotional state. Inflammation in the gut and the body is really the main culprit. So the main things that cause inflammation is sugar, really highly processed oils like soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, and of course these things are in the processed foods that we consume. Drinking alcohol and sodas, and soda is really just because it's like pure sugar, but alcohol literally like dehydrates you and it's a depressant. My worst moments emotionally were when I was drinking a lot. I was drinking a lot of wine. I was drinking liquor and getting lit on the weekends. So no wonder my emotional state was so up and down and volatile because, like I said before, I was not drinking well. I was not eating well. I was not sleeping well. I wasn't doing any of the basic things that I'm talking about now. Also, magnesium is a really good supplement, especially for sleep. And also because our soil is deficient in so many vitamins and minerals and nutrients, it's really good to add those trace minerals back into your diet. I get mine in trace minerals, and I'll link it down below. You can get it from like Sprouts or somewhere near you, but they have it online as well, so I'll link that below. So the next one is exercising. Exercise is just so like cleansing, and it just releases so many things for me, especially when you're angry. Like lifting at the gym when you're angry is like chef's kiss, I promise. Try going to the gym when you're angry just to blow off some steam. Those are the best workouts you'll ever have. I don't go to the gym anymore. I prefer yoga, and that's the next thing I was going to tell you about. It's the best workout that I found that calms your nervous system. You're paying attention to your breath, and you're strengthening that mind-body connection, which is so important when you're trying to regulate your emotions and tap back into your body and calm your nervous system. So the next thing on the list of preventative measures is meditation. Meditation is literally one of the cornerstones of emotional regulation and just being able to calm your nervous system and get out of that fight or flight state, and also just detach yourself from your thoughts. We get so caught up and attached to our thoughts, and meditation helps you practice observing your thoughts from kind of like a third party perspective. You're essentially becoming the observer of your thoughts and your character. So you're realizing that you are not this person, this thing. You are the spirit, and you are the essence, and you are the soul behind your character or your being. At the most basic level, meditation lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, it activates your body's parasympathetic nervous system, which is essentially the rest and digest side of your nervous system. And it helps form new connections in a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity essentially means that you can change your brain and make new neural connections just by training it to do something new. So if you're constantly practicing the practice of meditation, then you're training your brain to essentially tune out what they call the neural noise. So meditation is something that you can train yourself in just like any skill, and you'll be more and more easily inclined to tune out your thoughts and all the noise and just detach yourself from the own spiraling and hum and noise of your own brain. I personally like doing transcendental meditation, and that's where you use a mantra and you're just letting your thoughts come and go as they please. So you might be having your mantra, let's say it's this, and you're just going this, and then you might start thinking another thought, and it might even overlap with your mantra. You might start saying this, and then you might start thinking your thoughts, and then you realize that you're thinking your thoughts, and then you just slowly bring yourself back to your mantra. And with meditation, you just reach these very high levels of just peace and love and bliss, and you're connecting to source, and you're connecting to your body, and you're just moving all the energy and the chatter that goes on up here, and you're just moving it down to like your root and your sacral chakra, and you're really just grounding yourself in that moment. Transcendental meditation is the meditation that I personally do, but they also have different types of meditation, some that don't involve mantras. They have guided meditations, and you can do guided meditations for specific things. So I have some in my coaching program, and we can do inner child meditations or inner work meditations or forgiveness meditations, but you can also find guided meditations on YouTube or on podcasts or wherever you're searching for guided meditation. It's best with anything to just start the habit. So I recommend just doing 5 minutes a day of meditation and just tapping back into your body, because so often we have so much input just going into our brains, and it's just constant noise and video games and TV shows and YouTube videos, and we never really have time for just quiet. And that's something that I added into my daily routine, is just time for quiet and meditation, and just being able to receive downloads from God or from source or whatever you want to call him. So please add meditations into your daily habits and routines. You will not regret it, and it will make such a big difference in regulating your emotions and detaching yourself from your thoughts. So this next segment will be about what to do when you're in the middle of a highly emotional moment. Sometimes we don't have the tools to de-escalate situations, so I'm gonna give them to you right now. When I was in the middle of these highly emotional moments and I was being triggered and I didn't really have the tools, I would just react. Once you begin to start noticing when you're about to have an emotional reactive moment, which I promise is progress, then you begin to shift trajectories so you can change the outcome. And I talked about this in my first video. I'll link it in the cards. So when you're being triggered, and I'm looking over here because I wrote this in my journal almost 2 years ago, and I said, my mind caused this problem, so it cannot solve it. When you have a problem and it began in your mind, you cannot use your mind to solve the problem. I repeat, you cannot use your mind to solve a problem that was created in your mind. So the easiest thing to do when you catch yourself in an emotionally reactive moment is to literally stop, drop, and roll. Like stop, drop, and walk away, so you don't react in blow up on the person who is triggering you. Let's just dig deep into what a trigger is. So a trigger is called a trigger because it's triggering or activating something, a belief or a wound that is already present inside of you. So imagine someone came up to the old Irene 2 years ago and they said, Irene, you're fat and you're ugly and you're lazy. And I would have just it would have just brushed off me because I never believed that I was fat or ugly or lazy. So those things just, they didn't resonate. It didn't trigger me. But if someone came up to me and said, Irene, you're annoying and you're a burden and everyone hates you, no one really wants to be around you, that would trigger me because back then I felt unworthy and unlovable and like I was a burden to people. So when someone says or does something that triggers your core wounds or your core beliefs, that's when your triggers will be activated and you'll have a disproportionate emotional response to whatever the event is. The key for you in that moment when you know you're being triggered because of someone else's actions or someone else's words, you have to leave the situation and try to de-escalate the thoughts that are coming through in your mind. So what I would do is I would go for a walk and I would begin journaling. I would just give myself complete license to say whatever I wanted in my journal about how I felt. I felt, blame, or I felt shame, or I felt hurt. I would just write it all out. And those journal entries provide so much information. And that's why journaling is such a good tool because it really helps you understand yourself and understand your thought processes when you're going through things, especially in the middle of a highly emotional moment, because those will unlock your core woundings and beliefs about yourself. So I'll leave a chart up here so you can identify exactly what your core wound or core belief is. Some deactivating techniques that I use to stop my thought spiral in the moment is asking, is this true? Because so often when we're in a highly emotional moment, we tend to put all our energy on the other person who's triggering us. So it really, really helps to ask if certain things are true. Sometimes we'll speak in absolutes. So we'll say, this person always does this, or this person never does this for me, or something like that. So we'll speak in absolutes and we'll spiral with our thoughts and just paint blanket statements about the other person. Also recognizing that the other person isn't your enemy is a really good deactivating strategy. So most times it's with someone who's really close to you, right? And you know them and you love them, and that's why they can trigger you and activate you and get under your skin. So just know that the other person isn't the enemy. That will help your body when it's in this state of anxiety and fight or flight and your nervous system is activated and it feels like there's danger present. Just recognizing that the other person isn't the enemy really, really helps in deactivating your spiral and deactivating those thoughts. And like I said before, right now you may not be in control of your mind or in your thoughts, but with the practice of meditation, it will get easier and easier to detach yourself from your thoughts and recognize that it's just something that is a part of your old core wounding and your old identity, and you'll be able to give yourself grace and compassion in that moment and also extend compassion and love and forgiveness towards the other party. So this last segment, we'll talk about how to recover from a highly emotional event and process your emotions and, begin that analyzing of everything that you said in your journals and your core wounding and your beliefs and start to rewire some of those things. The most important thing is to acknowledge what triggered you. I find the easiest way to acknowledge it is to fit it into a one-sentence statement. I felt unworthy when my partner criticized me. I felt unseen or unheard when my partner ignored me when I asked them a question. I felt excluded when my partner went out with their friends and didn't invite me. So if in that moment you weren't able to fully feel and release that emotion, then right now, after things have completely boiled over, is the perfect time for you to fully feel and release that emotion. So if you need to cry it out or punch a pillow or go clang weights at the gym, then go ahead and do that at this moment, because as we all know, energy is neither created nor destroyed, it is just transferred. So make sure that you're releasing that energy and that emotion in a healthy way. So once you acknowledge that core wounding and that belief about yourself, then ask yourself, is this belief true? And if it's true, is it always true? So start to present yourself with evidence that it's not true. The best way that I've found to counteract a core belief of unworthiness or unlovability is by tapping into my spirituality. So I'm a Christian, and just believing that my creator created me in his image and in his likeness, and that he deemed me worthy enough to be on this earth and experience this experience lets me know that I am worthy, because he he loves me, like regardless of whatever I do, no matter how much I make mistakes or I sin or hurt people, or sometimes I don't forgive as soon or as quickly as I should. I know that he is someone who forgives me and loves me. So regardless if I have anyone else in my life, I know that I have God. So find something that you are able to counteract your core negative belief with. So if you feel like you are stupid or unlovable, find yourself some type of evidence that helps you create a new belief and a new identity for yourself. We have these core woundings and memories from our childhood that begin to shape our experiences and our perspective on life. It's like putting on some, red tinted glasses. You are experiencing life not from a neutral perspective, but through the lens of how you grew up in all of your experiences and all of your memories. And that's just how our brain works. We keep so many of these identities. I know one that one of my family members has is the black sheep. They feel like they're the black sheep of the family. And so whenever they're operating in friendships or in relationships or even with us as a family, they operate from the space of being the black sheep. And so that reflects in every single interaction that you have when you have these glasses that you're putting on, and that's the perception that you're seeing the world from. Essentially, your brain is reconfirming these beliefs that you have about yourself. So if you don't redefine and rewire these beliefs and the core identity for yourself, then you'll just fall into these same perceptions and these same patterns and these same cycles that you're in currently. So that brings me to my last point, which is the secret to mastering your emotions. You may think that it would be easier to just jump ship and cut off everyone that you feel is toxic and just end all of your relationships, and that you may be able to find some peace finally. But the best place to rewire your core negative beliefs that began in a relationship, i.e. with your mother and father, is to rewire those core beliefs within a relationship. So even if you decide to end one relationship, that core negative belief will still be there and will reflect in your relationships over and over again every single time. So many people end up in the same relationships and negative cycles because they don't rewire their core beliefs and create a new, more powerful identity for themselves. In my mentorship program, 6 Weeks to Emotional Mastery, we dive so deep on these concepts. We uncover your negative core beliefs, and I take you through my simple 5-step process on rewiring those core beliefs. I help you become a master of your emotions and begin creating your dream life instead of focusing on fixing yourself or healing yourself or solving all the problems that you may feel that you have. When I was going through everything, especially in the beginning of my journey, I just felt so broken and so powerless, and I wish I would have had a simple process that someone could have taken me through to get to where I am now, which is just happy and healthy and blissful and just at peace. It took me years of therapy and journaling and thousands of hours of YouTube videos and researching articles and trying a bunch of different healing modalities. And I finally cracked the code, and I'm able to get through difficult events and bounce back almost immediately because I know what process works, and I've built the emotional IQ to bounce back from life's ups and downs. I know how lonely the inner work journey can feel, and just trying to piece together all of these different information and advices from people can just overwhelm you and cause more information overload. It puts you more into your brain and your thoughts and problem solving mode, and that's the opposite of what we're trying to do. So I invite you to my mentorship program so you can get one-on-one guidance and finally step into the best and most empowered version of yourself. I only have a few one-on-one slots available for the rest of this month, so make sure that you email my team and you can book a call with me directly to determine if 6 Weeks to Emotional Mastery is a good fit for you. I hope this video gave you clarity and some actionable steps that you can take on your journey to emotional mastery. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.